Hello and welcome to Transfer Review. Chris Hamill is elsewhere today, don't know, probably doing his hair. So I'm joined by a man who never does his hair. It's Joe Tomlinson. Where are we starting today, mate?
Today we are starting with Philippe Coutinho. Just can't keep him out of the news at the moment. And that is because yesterday Sky Sports reported that a source close to the player had told them he wanted to join Barcelona, but they also went on to claim that he would only leave if Liverpool were in a good position because he doesn't want to f the club over, basically is what he was saying. It originally took Liverpool just 45 minutes, yes, just 45 minutes to reject the €80 million offer that came from the Catalan club. That was, what, 2 weeks ago now? And we do know at this stage that the player already has an agreement with FCB and is willing to join them, like I said. But Liverpool, in a very powerful position. The player is on a 5-year contract. He only signed that in January and are refusing to accept any bids. However, there are sneaky reports in Spain. They're looking quietly for around 120, 130 million euros, which is a lot of money. Valverde apparently wants him and Dembele to replace Neymar, but it's looking more likely they're only going to be able to get Coutinho. But really, Pato, how well does he stand up against the Brazilian?
Well, he's a different profile of player, isn't he?
Very different.
I mean, this is the thing. I think if I were Barcelona, I'd be more interested in Dembele, but Coutinho has got some sensational numbers. However, Neymar's numbers are out of this world.
Yes.
Last season was the second time Coutinho has got more than 10 goals in a season. He got 13 in the league, whereas Neymar, since 2009, has never managed under 14.
Madness.
That's incredible. Chances created in 2016-17, Coutinho 2.6, Neymar 3. Dribbles completed, Coutinho 2.8, that sounds great. Neymar 5.7. Oh my goodness.
Unbelievable.
So the like-for-like comparison there would be Ousmane Dembele to Neymar.
Definitely.
You see what I'm saying? Also, I think that if Coutinho wants to go to Barca, he's going to have to erase some of the slightly more erratic elements of his game. So last season, Coutinho was shooting 2.5 times a game.
Madness.
From outside the box.
Madness.
From outside the box. Neymar, by comparison, 1.1 times a game. Much less wasteful from distance. Neymar was shooting 2.4 times a game from inside the box.
Opposites.
With Coutinho, that's down at 1.6. So these are guys who have their shot locations pretty much reversed. But we all agree that Coutinho is a fantastic player. We all know he has a great footballing brain. All he needs is the right coach to bring that out. And you'd imagine when you're passing to, say, Neymar and Suarez, you might be more willing to give them the ball than when you're playing next to Divock Origi. But this is going to take a lot of money to get it done. Do you reckon it'll happen?
I think it's going to happen. I think Liverpool will eventually buckle and they'll sign at least one replacement. When there's that much money on the table and you're the Reds, you've got to go. The next player we're looking at is Sergi Roberto. Where's he been linked, Pato?
Apparently Man United want him. Apparently they've made a €30 million bid for Sergi Roberto. This is according to Barcelona paper Mundo Deportivo. Now Roberto, even though he's only really had 2 full seasons at the Camp Nou, is already 25 years old.
25?
Yeah, but in those 2 seasons, because he's a utility player, can play in the midfield, can also play at right back, he's got tons of appearances, 49 in one campaign, 47 in the other, so he has been highly used. Now apparently Chelsea as well are interested in bringing him to the Prem. Now that makes a lot more sense to me. Man United have just signed Matic, Chelsea have just sold Matic, they need numbers, Bakayoko's out until October. I can kind of see that happening, but Barcelona have said that he is non-transferable.
Non-transferable, of course, yeah, just like Neymar was.
Well, exactly. I'm sure that a bunch of teams would say their best players are non-transferable, but I think when it comes down to money, Barcelona need it, and they're going to need it if they go for that Coutinho move. Apparently he's got a €40 million release clause available from next year, Sergi Roberto, but he said he doesn't want to leave at this time. What is it about him that would make Man United want him, even though this is obviously bullshit?
Well, I think, like you said, it's definitely bull. But if we're discussing it seriously, it's his versatility that makes him an option. He's very, very good at right back. He can also play in defensive midfield. 28 appearances last season at right back. He said vocally that he sees his future as a defensive midfielder. And we know that Matic isn't getting any younger. We have signed a player who is at his peak, 29, 30 years old. In the next couple of years, maybe we'll need a replacement. But Roberto is 25, so does he count as a young, versatile player? I'm not too sure. And at a backup position, €40 million is a lot to spend on a backup. Let's have it right. It's also really hard to compare the players here because, like we said, Roberto played as a right-back last season for the majority of games. Matic played as a defensive midfielder. Tackles and interceptions-wise, Roberto comes out on top, 3.6 versus 2.8. Both were getting 0.2 assists per 90, but like I said, they're almost completely different profiles of players to compare because of the different positions. But, in my opinion, it's total and complete bullshit from Mundo Deportivo. Man United will not be making a move, 40 million euros especially, for Roberto, when Mourinho very publicly has said he wants one more winger and that will be his business finished. He clearly doesn't want to right back because the move for Sergi Roberto is nonsense. And he doesn't need a defensive midfielder, he's just signed Matic. So, unless it's a left winger, Man United will be making no more transfers this window.
Next up, we have a completed move, and it's Mario Lemina, the Gabonese international, to Southampton. Yeah,
we're expecting this one to be announced today. The player underwent a medical yesterday in London ahead of the move, and it's a cheap one. I think this could be one of the bargains of the season. £18 million plus £2 million in add-ons for the Juventus central midfielder, blasting Southampton's record transfer out of the window, which was, of course, Sofiane Boufal, who joined for €17 million last season. Now, Stoke were very, very interested in the player. Watford had some early interest as well, but Stoke were desperate to sign him. But the player preferred Southampton, and that is where he's ended up. It's likely he's going to start alongside Oriol Romeu, potentially, who is, of course, Southampton's player of the season last year. And Southampton, we're talking about it off camera, are developing a really good midfield. Oriol Romeu, Højbjerg, now we've got Classy, we've got James Ward-Prowse, we've got Stephen Davis as well in there, who played a lot of minutes. Yeah, exactly. But Stephen Davis now approaching 32 years old. In fact, I think he is 32 years old. Pato, is it a like-for-like replacement, do you think?
I don't know if it is really. And of course, Davis is quite a versatile player. We can still see him have some minutes on the right wing or something. Now, Lemina looks like a really good all-rounder, and he's just 23 years old. He, of course, played at Marseille under Marcelo Bielsa, and now he's played at Juventus as well, so tons of experience, but only 913 minutes in the league last season. So take these numbers that we're about to give you with a little grain of salt, because they're not definite as a result. But last season, tackles and interceptions per game, 3.4 to Stephen Davis, 2.1. Creating more chances as well, 1.8 to Davis's 1 per 90 minutes.
Really impressive.
So he's actually doing pretty much everything in the centre of the park, and that's kind of what you think they'll want. You know, they can have Romeu at the base of midfield or James Ward-Prowse, and then they can play Højbjerg and, of course, Mario Lemina on either side. It's going to be pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, to get a player out of Juventus at this stage, take him to Southampton, I think that's great. And it's not really that much for a club record signing either. But what do you guys think? Is Mario Lemina a good signing for Southampton? Can they kick on this season? Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Whilst Juventus have lost one central midfielder, it looks like they could be replacing him with an even better option. Who is it, Pato?
It's Matteo Kovacic, the Real Madrid midfielder. According to Gianluca Di Marzio and Sky Italia, Juventus want the Croatian. They're already in talks with Real Madrid. He's just 23 years old and he's absolutely outrageous. Now, according to Marca, who of course are a Madrid paper, he's got a €50 million buyout clause, but they reckon that Zidane would let him go for 40 million.
What is going on?
This is making me genuinely really angry.
Furious.
Sami Khedira's just turning 30, so it's excellent. It's an excellent move for Juve to go and get his replacement now. He's absolutely ridiculous. Calcio Mercato say he only wants to go back to Italy, which might explain why the Premier League clubs are not sniffing around. But surely somebody's got to be after him. Liverpool is said to be interested, and he'd be ideal for them. In fact, I think there's only one team in Europe who don't have space for Matteo Kovacic in their midfield, and it's Real Madrid. It's so unfortunate for him, because basically any other club in the world could do with him in central midfield. I think he'd walk into pretty much every team in Europe.
100%. I cannot believe that Manchester City are not making a move for Matteo Kovacic.
Or Arsenal,
with their
or Spurs,
holes.
or Liverpool.
The amount of holes in that City midfield, though, right now is mind-blowing, and I cannot believe they're not going for a player of his quality, because like Pato said, he would improve any of the top tier sides in Europe. I mean, you've just got to look at that goal he scored against Barcelona in pre-season, dances past PK like he's not there, smashes it bottom left, his link up with Asensio for their second counter-attacking goal as well. Absolutely phenomenal player. Look, last season, he didn't get many minutes. Just 1,600 minutes on the pitch for Real Madrid. 1 goal, 3 assists in La Liga. Not huge numbers. He was creating 1 chance per 90, but he was also winning 3.6 tackles and interceptions. This is a guy who can do absolutely everything. And let's not forget, like Pat said, Khedira's getting no younger. 30 years old now and was winning just 1.8 tackles and interceptions per 90 for the old lady, which is surprisingly low for a defensive midfielder, you would think. He's also missed, Khedira, 245 days through injury since 2015, which is an awful lot.
Diaby numbers.
A big, big number for a 30-year-old central midfielder. So clearly they're looking to replace him, phase him out slowly, and I think Mateo Kovacic would be, I'm going to go out and say it, he would definitely be the signing of the summer.
Oh, it would be unbelievable, especially if you get him for under 50 million euros.
But what do you guys think? Would it be the signing of the summer, Mateo Kovacic to Juventus? Vote in the poll above my head right now.
Our final transfer of the week is Rachid Ghezzal, the Lyon winger, who's just joined Monaco.
Yeah, an interesting one. Joins on a free transfer, obviously released by Lyon. The player chose, though, not to sign a new deal at the club. He was not kicked out, as some reports in France stated. He claims he wanted Champions League football and he will get it at Monaco. He signed until 2021, rejecting numerous offers as well from other clubs. Zenit wanted him, Celta Vigo were very, very seriously interested. Nice wanted him, of course, under Lucien Favre, and so did West Ham. But as ever, West Ham missed out on a principal target. No surprise there. Last season, not the most impressive numbers on paper, I have to say. 2 goals, 2 assists, but I did play just 1,300 minutes for Lyon. Now, one big problem with the player is his attitude. He has a stinking attitude. Lots of reports in France that he fell out with all of his teammates, fell out with all of the coaches, so it wasn't a particular surprise when he left the club. But what we can all agree on is the raw talent for a footballer is there. He's just not quite got it upstairs. Maybe he'll improve at Monaco, though.
Well, you'd hope that Leonardo Jardim would be able to kind of knock some sense into him. He's 25 years old. He's got all the talent in the world. He's a left footer who likes to play on the right, so he cuts inside. Great interchanges, and he's got a great shot from distance. So you'd think he would operate in that role vacated by Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, they'd hope so.
Now, on paper, his goals and assist numbers are nowhere near the Portuguese. And of course, he's older as well. 0.2 goals and assists per 90 last season to Silva's 0.6. But when you actually look at the raw underlying stats, they're not too far apart. Both of them created 1.8 chances per game, and both of them took 1.3 shots from inside the area. So in terms of how they actually interact with the attack, they're not that different. So it might be a relatively easy stylistic transition for the players. The problem is that Monaco are absolutely stacked with attacking talent at the moment. So much. Let me read you some of their talent in wide positions here. Lemina, Mbappe, Mbula, Lopez, Carrillo, Diaz, Bosquilla, and of course now Rachid Ghezzal. It looks as well like Alain Saint-Maximin, who of course is a fantastic young wide player. Looks like they're going to sell him on to Nice. I can't believe that either. So there's tons of talent, and they're already recognising that they've got a bit too much, and yet they're still bringing in Rachid Ghezzal. Like Joe says, how well he does is going to come down to what Jardim can get out of him. Let's wait and see, because this one could be great, could be a disaster. So that's all we've got time for this week. But Joe, what should the good people do after this? Well, we've launched our brand new show over on Football Daily. Yes, it's the 12th man, where we talk to you about all our fantasy football picks, all our predictions for the weekend's games. Get over there, sign up to our league. There's loads of prizes to give away. Believe me, it's definitely worth it. Yes, guys. And as always, please do like and subscribe. Sayonara.